In a valley, cradled by ancient mountains, lay Luminaria. It was not a city of grand towers nor of clamorous industry. Instead, it was a quiet place, a settlement of thoughtful design. Houses were built from local stone and wood, blending with the landscape. Paths wound through groves of trees, not harsh, straight roads. The air was clean, the river that flowed nearby ran clear and bright. This city was different from its very conception, born from a desire for a life more true, more connected to the earth and to each other. The founders of Luminaria were dreamers, perhaps, or perhaps they were simply weary. They had seen the world outside, a world driven by an insatiable hunger for things. Gold, power, possessions, these were the gods of that other world. But these gods left people empty. They created division, envy, and endless toil for hollow rewards. The founders envisioned a society where human worth was not measured by what one owned. They imagined a place where contributions were valued for their intrinsic benefit to the community, not for their market price. They chose the Whispering Valley for its seclusion, for its natural beauty. Here they could begin anew. They laid down no laws of property as the outside world knew them. Land was for all to use, to care for. Resources were shared, managed with respect for future generations. Their guiding principle was simple. Each person had something unique to offer, and each person had needs that the community could help meet. This formed the bedrock of their new society, a radical departure from the norm. So Luminaria began not with a bang, but with a quiet resolve. It was an experiment in living, an attempt to build a community where the currency was not cold metal or paper, but the very essence of human endeavor, time given freely, skills shared generously, creativity nurtured and celebrated. This was the foundation upon which Luminaria stood, a testament to the belief that a different way of life was not only possible, but profoundly necessary for the human spirit to flourish. In Luminaria, wealth had a different meaning. It was not hoarded, but circulated. The first thread of this wealth was time. An hour of a person's life, given in service or creation, was a unit of value. It was recorded not to indebt, but to acknowledge. This time chit, as it was known, represented a commitment, a piece of one's life offered to another or to the community. It was a tangible symbol of shared existence, a reminder that everyone's time was precious and equally worthy of respect. The second thread was skill. A person might be a mender of tools, a healer, a storyteller, or a cultivator of food. Each skill, honed through practice and dedication, was a vital contribution. There was no hierarchy of skills based on perceived importance or rarity in the way the outside world might judge. The ability to soothe a crying child was as valued as the ability to design a sturdy bridge. Both served the community. Both enhanced life. Skills were shared openly, with masters teaching apprentices, ensuring knowledge flowed freely. The third thread, vibrant and essential, was creative fire. This was the spark of innovation, of beauty, of joy. A song composed, a sculpture carved, a new way to weave fabric, a garden planted with an eye for harmony. These acts of creation enriched the soul of Luminaria. They brought color, inspiration, and wonder into daily life. Creative expression was not a luxury for the few, but an integral part of being human, encouraged in everyone from a young age. It was seen as a fundamental need, like food or shelter. These three threads, time, skill, and creative fire, were interwoven. They formed the economic fabric of Luminaria. It was a system built on mutual respect and the understanding that everyone had something valuable to contribute. It fostered a sense of interdependence, not dependence. People gave what they could and received what they needed. The goal was not accumulation, but a balanced flow of energy and resources, ensuring the well-being of all members of the community. This was the quiet hum of Luminaria's heart. At the heart of Luminaria, in a simple circular building open to the sky, lay the ledger of life. It was not a cold accounting book of debts and credits, it was a living chronicle. Each citizen had a section, their entries made with care. When someone offered their time or skill or shared a creative work, the exchange was noted, not in terms of profit or loss, but as a record of contribution and receipt. The ledger was crafted by artisans, its pages made of durable, locally sourced materials. The ledger was accessible to all. Anyone could come and read its pages. This transparency was crucial. It fostered trust and discouraged imbalance. It was not used to compare or to shame. Instead, it served as a quiet reminder of the community's interconnectedness. Seeing the entries for a neighbor time spent teaching children, skills offered in mending nets, a beautiful piece of pottery, gifted built appreciation. It made the invisible work of the community visible, tangible, and honored. Entries were made using a system of symbols and brief descriptions agreed upon by the community. For instance, an hour spent gardening for the communal kitchen would be recorded with a specific symbol and a note. A song shared at a gathering bringing joy to many would also find its place. The keepers of the ledger were chosen for their wisdom and impartiality. They were more like librarians of human effort than accountants, ensuring the records were accurate and respectful. Their role was one of service, not power. The ledger of life was more than an economic tool. It was a storybook of the city. It told the tale of how luminarians lived, worked, and supported one another. It celebrated the myriad ways individuals contributed to the collective good. For the young, it was a source of inspiration, showing them the diverse paths of contribution available. For the old, it was a record of a life well lived, woven into the fabric of their community. It affirmed that every act of giving, no matter how small, had meaning. Ava was a glassblower. Her small workshop was near the river where the reeds grew tall. She used these reeds in her fires. Ava's hands, though calloused, moved with grace and precision. She shaped molten glass into delicate vessels, into panes that captured sunlight, into whimsical figures that seemed to dance with light. Her skill was a gift, honed over many years of patient practice. She did not create for profit in the old sense. She created because the fire within her matched the fire of her forge. One morning, Ava needed new tools for her work, ones made of a stronger metal. She visited the workshop of Cale, the metalsmith. Cale examined her request, the designs she had sketched. He would need several hours to forge the tools. Ava, in turn, offered Cale a set of her new drinking glasses, imbued with a swirling blue she had recently perfected. Or she offered time chits, representing hours she could dedicate to a community project, or to teaching her craft to an apprentice Cale might know. They discussed the exchange. It was a conversation, not a transaction. Cale admired her glass. Ava respected his metalwork. They agreed that 3 of her finest blue swirl glasses would be a fair exchange for the new tools. The time and artistry in both were acknowledged. Later, this exchange would be noted simply in the ledger of life. Ava, glass given; Cale, tools given. A balance of skill and artistry, freely offered, freely received. No one felt poorer or richer in a material sense, but both were enriched by the interaction. Ava returned to her workshop, her heart light. The sun streamed through a window pane she had made, casting patterns on the earthen floor. Soon she would have her new tools. She could then attempt more intricate designs, pushing the boundaries of her art. Her work was not just for herself. The things she made brought beauty and utility to others in Luminaria. This knowledge was her deepest satisfaction. Her contribution, like the light she shaped, radiated outwards into the community. Section 5. The Exchange of Wonders, where needs meet gifts. In the center of Luminaria, shaded by large, leafy trees, lay the Exchange of Wonders. It was not a market of frantic buying and selling. There were no shouted prices, no haggling over worth. Instead, it was a place of vibrant connection. People came to offer what they had made or done and to find what they needed. Stalls were simple, displaying handcrafted goods, fresh produce from communal gardens, repaired items, and notices of services offered. The air buzzed with quiet conversation and the scent of herbs and baking bread. One could find a storyteller offering tales for an hour of mending clothes. A musician might play a lively tune in exchange for freshly harvested vegetables. A healer offered consultations, her payment being time pledged to help tend the medicinal herb garden. Children ran a small stall where they exchanged polished river stones and intricate leaf patterns for lessons in carpentry or pottery. Every stall, every interaction was a testament to the diversity of human talent and the simplicity of direct exchange. The Exchange of Wonders was a place of discovery. Someone might arrive needing a sturdy pair of shoes and find a skilled cobbler ready to craft them. In return, the person needing shoes might offer their time to help harvest the cobbler's flax patch. or perhaps teach the cobbler's child a new song. The exchanges were often fluid, based on present needs and available gifts. It was a dance of reciprocity, elegant in its unforced rhythm. Trust was the invisible currency that made it all flow smoothly. The atmosphere was one of mutual respect. Each offering, whether a complex piece of machinery or a simple loaf of bread, was seen as a valuable contribution. People took time to appreciate the skill and effort behind each item or service. It was a place to meet, to share news, and to reinforce community bonds as much as it was a place for exchange. The exchange of wonders was truly named, for the greatest wonder was the human capacity for generosity and cooperation thriving in its heart. Section 6. Echoes from Beyond. The wandering melodists arrive. One season, a small group of musicians arrived at the edge of Luminaria. They came from the lands beyond, where coins clinked and paper money dictated lives. They were weary of that world, their music often lost in the noise of commerce. They had heard whispers of a city that valued art for its own sake. Cautiously they approached, carrying their worn instruments, a flute, a drum, and a stringed lute. They did not know what to expect, only that they sought a place where their melodies might find true ears. The gatekeeper of Luminaria, an elder named Lyra, greeted them not with suspicion, but with a calm curiosity. The musicians explained their journey and offered their gift music. They played a song for Lyra, a tune filled with the longing and hope of their travels. Lyra listened, her eyes reflecting the serene sky. In Luminaria there were no formal gates to keep people out, only gentle welcomes for those who came in peace and with a willingness to share. Lyra explained the ways of Luminaria. She told them of the ledger of life, of time chits, of how skills and creativity were the true currents of exchange. The musicians were puzzled at first. A life without money seemed an impossible dream. How would they eat? Where would they sleep? Lyra smiled gently. "You have offered music," she said. "That is a gift the community will offer in return. Come, share your songs with us. We will find you food and shelter." Hesitantly, the musicians entered Luminaria. They were guided to the communal hall. That evening they played for the citizens. Their music, born from different experiences, brought new rhythms and harmonies to the valley. The people of Luminaria listened with open hearts, their faces lit by the warm glow of shared appreciation. The melodies echoed through the quiet streets, a new thread weaving itself into the city's rich tapestry. The musicians felt a sense of welcome they had rarely known. Section 7. Harmonies are woven in. The minstrel's Luminarian sojourn. The musicians quickly found their place in Luminaria. They played in the exchange of wonders, their melodies drawing smiles and thoughtful silence. In return, people offered them fresh bread, warm clothing, and materials to repair their instruments. Some offered time chits, which the musicians could then use to request help with learning a local craft or understanding more about the city's ways. They were not treated as outsiders, but as guests bringing a unique flavor to the community. One musician, Elara, who played the flute, expressed a desire to learn about the local dyeing techniques using plants. A woman named Sorin, a master dyer, offered to teach her. Elara spent many hours with Sorin, learning to identify plants, prepare the dyes, and create beautiful hues on fabric. In exchange, Elara composed a special piece of music for Sorin and taught Sorin's children simple flute melodies. This was the way of Luminaria, a sharing of knowledge, a weaving of skills, enriching both individuals. The drummer, Reese, found himself fascinated by the city's gardens. He offered his time to help with the planting and harvesting. He learned about companion planting and the rhythms of the seasons from the gardeners. His strong arms and steady beat, usually for his drum, found a new purpose in tilling the soil. He discovered a quiet joy in this connection to the earth. He, in turn, taught the children how to make simple percussion instruments from gourds and wood. The lute player, Finn, spent time with the storytellers. He learned the old tales of Luminaria, the legends of its founding. He began to weave these stories into his songs, creating new ballads that resonated with the city's spirit. The musicians found that living without money was not a deprivation, but a liberation. Their art was valued for its beauty and emotional connection, not for its ability to generate profit. They contributed and they received. They were part of the flow, their music a vibrant current within it. Section 8. The quiet revolution, a city's soul. Life in Luminaria moved at a different pace. There was no frantic rush to accumulate, no gnawing anxiety about material lack. People worked, yes, but their work was meaningful, connected directly to their needs and the needs of their community. They had time to think, to create, to connect with nature, to spend with loved ones. This abundance of time, rather than an abundance of possessions, was the true wealth of Luminaria. It fostered a deep sense of well-being. Relationships between people were different too. Without the lens of monetary wealth, individuals saw each other more clearly. Respect was earned through character, through contribution, through kindness. Envy and social stratification based on material status were largely absent. Cooperation was more natural than competition. When a neighbor needed help, others offered it freely, knowing that they too would be supported in their time of need. This created a strong, resilient social fabric. Children grew up with a broad understanding of value. They learned from a young age that everyone had something to offer, that every skill was important. They saw their parents and elders contributing in diverse ways, and they were encouraged to explore their own talents. Education was not about rote learning for a future job in a narrow field, but about holistic development, nurturing curiosity, skill, and a sense of responsibility to the community. Their playground was the city itself, a living lesson in interdependence. This system, so unlike the outside world, shaped the very soul of Luminaria. It was a quiet revolution happening daily in the small exchanges, the shared meals, the collaborative projects. It cultivated peace, not just in the absence of conflict, but as an active state of being. People felt a sense of purpose, knowing their lives and efforts mattered, woven into something larger than themselves. This intrinsic motivation was a powerful force, fueling the city's gentle, enduring vitality. Section 9. To give is to live Luminaria's unspoken vow. The essence of Luminaria was captured in a simple, unspoken understanding, a motto lived rather than proclaimed: to give is to live. It was not inscribed on stone monuments or recited in formal ceremonies. Instead, it was written in the daily actions of its people. In the baker sharing her bread, the storyteller his tales, the healer her comfort. In every exchange of time, skill, or creative spark, this philosophy found its expression. It was the city's heartbeat, its guiding star. This way of life fostered a profound richness, not of hoarded gold, but of shared experience. The joy of learning a new skill, the satisfaction of helping a neighbor, the wonder of creating something beautiful. These were the treasures Luminarians accumulated. Their lives were full of meaning because they were lives of contribution and connection. They understood that true fulfillment came not from taking, but from participating in the great dance of giving and receiving. Of course, Luminaria was not a perfect utopia. Disagreements arose, challenges surfaced, but the foundational principle of mutual respect and the mechanisms like the ledger of life provided ways to navigate these difficulties with grace and a focus on communal well-being. The system was adaptable, always learning, always seeking to better uphold its core values. Its strength lay in its simplicity and its deep alignment with fundamental human needs for purpose and belonging. Luminaria stood as a quiet beacon. It offered a vision of a world where value was redefined, where the best of human nature, generosity, creativity, cooperation formed the basis of society. Its legacy was not in grand structures or conquered lands, but in the peaceful, purposeful lives of its citizens, and in the enduring truth that the richest life is one interwoven with others, a life where every individual has the chance to give their unique gifts, and in doing so, to truly live.